Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from Behatilife. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about the full moon eclipse that's happening in the sign of crazy, erratic, wonderful Aquarius. Now this eclipse, this full moon is just rocking the internet, like I said before in the week ahead video. Why? Well, because it's kind of tense. There's a tense alignment in the skies, but you guys already know how I roll, and I personally feel like there is no such thing as a negative anything. If you know how to work with the planets, then you know how to make them work for you. And also they're trying to tell you messages every single day of what you need to do in order to maximize the most out of your experience here on Earth in order to work your magic so that nothing is ever really truly working against you. And if you ever find yourself struggling or falling back or feeling disconnected, it's because 9 times out of 10 you're doing too much. And number 2, you're not following the flow of your intuition and what the cosmos are trying to show you. And you don't even have to look at an astrology chart to look within yourself to kind of tap into what is going on in your environment. We are so connected to the planets. It's unbelievable. As above, so below. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. So for those of you guys who are brand new to the channel, welcome. I'm looking over here in this direction because I have the chart in front of me. I do have some cards that are pulled, and as I'm moving through both of those things, I like to keep the energy open so that I can work with my intuition and give those messages over to you as they come through without me having to force anything, because there's nothing good that ever comes from forcing anything, and you all know that by now. I know that by now, but you know that by now. That being said, so the first thing that it is that I'm seeing when I'm looking at the chart is the fact that the sun falls in the sign of Leo. The sun is sitting here in Leo, the full moon, the moon is sitting in the sign of Aquarius. Now, if we take a moment and if we look at that, it's really impactful, and that in itself could be the reading for this week, for this eclipse. But I'm going to dive into everything that is connected to this, including fate and karma, which we need to talk about. But the sun falling in the sign of Leo is pushing our energy, our light, into a space of creative expression, of brilliance, of playfulness, joy, pleasure, luxury. Most of us look at our lives, or most of spiritual people in the spiritual community, now we're working against that stigma now, but there's such a stigma against being spiritual and actually enjoying the finer things of life. And there is also a stigma against spiritual workers that were just going out and having fun and being silly. Why? Because it's like, if you're serious, if you're grown, if you're mature, and if you're advanced in your levels of study or practice, then you're just kind of sitting in that state of all the time. And in reality, that's not truly the case. This life is designed to have balance and abundance and blessing to it. It's not meant for it to be barren or serious or tough and hard all the time. And when the sun falls in the sign of Leo, it's a reminder that pleasure, joy, luxury, abundance, being playful and having children around, and sexuality and flirting, all of those things are very, very important to our existence here on Earth. In fact, each of the signs represents a certain energy, a certain element that it wants to give and infuse into your life. No matter what it is that your sun sign is, or your ascendant sign, or what your chart looks like, all of these signs are giving equal portions of things that it is that you need, that you should not neglect. And when the sun falls in the sign of Leo, it's saying, do not neglect your playful side, do not neglect your flirtatiousness, do not neglect your pleasure. Do not neglect the fact that you deserve beautiful, nice things. In fact, it's so funny because as the sun just recently moved into the sign of Leo, I found myself wanting chocolate for breakfast. And I'm like, I'm an adult, Jess. You know, just go ahead and have some oatmeal and and orange juice and fruit. And I do, but sometimes it's nice to just indulge, to be decadent, to luxuriate in the pleasure of the senses. And that's what the sun falling in the sign of Leo is doing. Now, sitting directly opposite Opposite of that is the moon falling on the sign of Aquarius. That's where the full moon comes, because the sun's sitting on one side and the full moon's on the opposite. The sun shares its light and blasts it on the moon, and the moon shows all of its face, to revealing all of itself. So the moon falling in the sign of Aquarius is all about doing different and revamping and being eccentric, being erratic, doing what hasn't been done before. Sometimes there's this natural tendency with Aquarius vibes, Aquarius people, the sign of Aquarius, to kind of rebel and to push back just for the sake of fun. But for the most part, what I'm seeing when I'm looking at the entire chart of this full moon is any changes that are happening here, it's for, it's erratic, and it's, I don't know the right word, but it's so innovative, it's so like strikingly different, because there's certain other planets, because everything, all of the planets are working together in order to create this energy of this vibe. And Saturn sitting in the sign of Capricorn, Pluto sitting in the sign of Capricorn, both of those retrograde. Mars sitting in the sign of Aquarius, that being retrograde. Neptune sitting in the sign of Pisces, retrograde. Mercury sitting in the sign of Leo, also retrograde. All of these signs, or all of these planets, I'm sorry, are working to kind of revamp and open the door almost, and especially Saturn and Pluto and Mars. Mars is telling you to calm down. Mars is telling you to take a step back. Pluto is saying, I need to transition this for you. I need to transform this for you. This needs to be cleansed. This needs to be cleansed. This needs to be wiped clean. Saturn sitting in the sign of Capricorn, I made a whole video about this, but you guys are seeing this in certain areas of your life, but no one's talking about it. So what ends up happening is Saturn and Pluto together are working to demolish and destroy certain areas that you have built a foundation on, especially Saturn. Saturn wants you to have a very firm foundation. And when Saturn sees that there's a weak spot, and when Pluto sees that there's a weak spot, they work to stamp it out, to destroy it, to break it down, so that there's a new space that's there. So now that we have this new space, this void, and you're experiencing this level of emptiness in your life, this like black hole, it's time for you to fill it up with intention. And in this case, this is when erratic change comes. So this is why I said in the week ahead video, and if you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. I'll link it down below. But this is why I said this is all about like infusing this like fresh energy into your life, and to be open to it, because Aquarius, for the most part, is connected with humanity, but on a personal level, it wants to bring different into your life. It wants to innovate and to allow you to have the space and the time to do what is authentic and unique to you for your highest and greatest good. And you focusing on that and you doing what you need to do, it actually impacts the whole. So you having happiness and pleasure and joy and abundance makes it so that you're in a space that you're able to give those gifts to others. So it's for your benefit and for everyone's benefit if you're actually happy. The only way for you to be able to open up to newness in your life is if the old has been released. And it's very, very possible that many of you will have a little level of discomfort, but that's okay, because anytime when you start something new in your life, there always is going to be like a little apprehension, a little like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm excited for it, but I'm also nervous. So there's these butterflies in the stomach that's happening here. That being said, your emotions are tied in so strongly with this full moon. I mean, always full moons tend to be highly emotional. But the moon is sitting in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is not known for being emotionally connected or emotionally observant, is what I'll say. But when Mars is sitting directly on top of this moon, something is being triggered here within you. Now, it could be an outside circumstance, something that is triggered by the sun being squared off by Uranus, creating this explosive aspect, meaning like explosive change. Something, you know, I don't want to say drastic happens, but something pops off and it catches your light. Maybe two cars crash and then you look and then you see the love of your life just walking, crossing the street, but that person's okay. But it's just and that's a really kind of awful example, but I'm just saying this is how it could happen. Something draws your attention like a beam of light. You look over and then it's a game changer. It acts as a game changer and your emotions are caught into it, and things are different now. So that's what it is that I'm seeing. Mars, even though it's retrograde, when it's conjoined the moon in this way, it's really hard for you to kind of hold back. So it creates this, like, the sun squaring Uranus will create a shift in a dynamic. It will create a ripple effect. And what I'm seeing is this could be happening globally. So this could be people who are striking out to defend what it is that they are very protective of, their belief system. But more than that, I'm focusing on you guys. I'm focusing on your personal life. And what happens is that this is a person or a situation within your life that has looked like a certain way for a set amount of time. And when this full moon reveals, full moons always reveal. But what ends up happening is that this full moon is going to highlight an area or a situation within you that is no longer happy with the current status quo. So that's why we see this like break apart. That's why we see this breaking down of energy. Now that's, the internet will say to you like, oh, you know, expect the unexpected, which is very much true. But what is happening is that this isn't a negative thing when we're expecting someone to do what they've never done before in order to receive something that they may have never had. So if you've been setting intentions for yourself, and if you have been working on manifestation or whatever it is, or if you're just open to what the universe has for you, and you're in this flexible state, then most people need to kind of enter into new territory in order and leave the old behind, which Saturn and Pluto is totally working to destroy and switch up anyways. Anything that's weak is getting demolished. But if you are setting the intention for this newness to come into your life, 9 times out of 10, what is going to be expected of you is brand new, a new you. So that's when you follow your feelings, when you follow your intuition, when your emotions are getting caught with actual action, because Mars rules action, you're being triggered to do something different and to go where you haven't been done before. That is in no way, shape a negative thing, but it can create unpredictable energy around you. That's why, like I said before, I'm going to repeat myself so that I'm very clear. That's why the internet gets so nervous when they see aspects like this, because people are unpredictable. But if that's not a bad thing. If I've been doing, you know, in a situation that has not served me, and I've been in that situation for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 35 years, this is the type of full moon eclipse that will just blast me into a space where I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm out. So there's a break, there's a split, there's a disconnect that happens, and that person like takes their shirt off, takes their pants off, and then runs off into the fields, and they have this breath of freedom. So this eclipse, what it's going to do, and this full moon, is it's going to breathe new life energy into a certain area of your chart, into a certain area of your personal world. And if you're setting the intention for erratic change, that's what I'm saying when I'm thinking and feeling when I'm looking at this chart. I think that the best way to work this this full moon at first initially is to focus on the area of your life that needs the most drastic transformation, that needs if you could have the universe come in, or God, or this higher power, this infinite, all-loving, all-knowing energy being, sit with you across the table and say to you, Jessica, if you could change one thing in your life and see the most drastic change in it, or 2 things, tell me it now. So I don't care what it has looked like before. What is it that you want it to look like? What is it that you want it to be? That's what we're going to work on. That's what we're going to shift. And I need you to be so flexible. I need you to have 100% trust. I need you to have 100% faith in what can happen here. And that's what's going to happen. And when I say, and this is, you guys hear me out, I'm so excited for this eclipse. So the natal node, or the north node, I'm sorry, is sitting in a sign of Leo. And Leo rules pleasure, luxury, love, because moving from the heart, Leo is ruled by the heart. And creation, creativity, expression, sexuality in a lot of ways, that playful flirtatiousness, new love, new life, new fun. So the North Node is sitting there pulling us in the direction of what it is that our heart truly wants. It's not listening to the voice of others. Why? Because the full moon falls in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is like, I can't hear anybody else because I'm following the beat of my drummer. So I'm going to listen to my intuition, my feeling, and I'm going to go where I've never gone before. So when you have the North Node pulling you in the direction of where it is that you need to go, this is when the fated things are destined to happen, because you're pushed into a space of, number one, you're uncomfortable, but you're open to it. So that's what this full moon gives to you, and that's what this full moon brings. The other thing that I was seeing is the fact that the vertex point is being aspected. The vertex point rules fated things, fated encounters. The vertex is falling in the sign of Cancer. I'm spitting because I'm so excited. The vertex is falling in the sign of Cancer, ruled by the moon, which is our intuition, our emotion, and also our ability to receive information, our ability to be receptive. And the Venus is aspecting the vertex. Venus is love and relationships, money and value. Jupiter, sitting in the sign of Scorpio, wants better for you. It wants quality for you. Jupiter is the planet of abundance and expansion, is positively aspecting, almost perfect, this vertex point. The other thing that I see is Neptune, currently retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which is connecting you to your higher intuition, your higher level, your higher knowledge, your infinite connection to the divine. Even though it's retrograde, it's still speaking to you. So that's positively aspecting the vertex point, and the vertex falls in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, the full moon. So yes, Mars is retrograde, but it's asking you to do differently. It's also asking you to fall back for just a moment to have this conversation with the divine and with this higher power, and also with your infinite source of knowledge within yourself, to ask yourself, if I could have just complete overhaul, upheaval in my life in one area, which initially sounds really terrifying, but it creates transformation, it creates transition. I did pull some cards for you guys, and these are the cards that pulled up. I'm very proud of myself that I just pulled that to show you guys in the way that I did, because it came out so nice. I was like, cards. Oh man, I just lost one. Okay, these are the cards that came up to describe the energy of this full moon. And the one is the Sun card. Come on. The sun has just recently moved into the sign of Leo, so this is solar energy being infused into our lives right now. This is newness, definitely, 100% when we're working with the sun being squared with Uranus. Yes, it creates this unexpected change, but it's change. I don't know about you, but I've been wanting change. I've been wanting different. I've been wanting new. I've been wanting better. So that's what it is that it's giving, and there's this new life that's being surged up. Then we have the Death card, transformation, transition. Fine, good, let it go. I want to release all the things that no longer serve me, and I want to put all of my energy into things that will serve me, that won't just serve me now in this moment, but for the future to come. New love, new levels of love in my business. So more creative energy, more color and beauty and abundance in my business, and all areas of my life. Vitality. I want to do what I want to do. I want to follow my path. I want to be authentic to myself, and I want to enjoy every single moment of it. So I'm very open to the energy of this full moon. There's no need to be shook up by it, even though yes, the internet is going to freak you out. I can already hear some of you guys being like, well, Jess, what about Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo? You know what? I have a video all about Mercury retrograde. I'll link that down below as well. But for the most part, Mercury being retrograde in the sign of Leo is just honestly reconnecting you back into those old voices. It's giving you permission to just chill, to mellow out. It's no coincidence that I actually booked my trip to New Orleans to go down there to enjoy, to turn all of my engines off for a minute just so I could focus and just coast a little bit, just to enjoy pleasure, to enjoy, you know, life, and just do what I do best in one of my favorite cities in the world. The shop is actually going to be reopened, but at that point, everything's going to be restocked for you guys. So my assistant's going to be packing things up in the way that she does and sending them out to you. So keep your eyes open for that. But for the most part, I'm going to be chilling. I'm going to be relaxing. I'm going to be pulling cards for you guys and just enjoying it, enjoying the pleasure of life. I'll definitely be setting intentions for this eclipse. How could you not? How could you not set intentions for this full moon? So I welcome you guys to join me on that. But the full moon is going to be happening. I don't know if I said this, but it's on July 27th. I have the chart pulled for 3:42 p.m., but I will be working my magic later on that night. All right, my guys. So I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you're sharing, and definitely comment your experiences down below in the comments so that I can read and hear about your experiences and how you feel and what's going on. And we'll talk soon. I love you. Bye.